What's up, YouTube fans? Today I want to take a look at the Miko Toys Skyfire, or their version of a KO Newage Firefox. So this was sent to me by Jordan W. Thanks for allowing me to take a look at your copy. He knows I love all things Skyfire, Jetfire, so I appreciate him sending this. Now, I didn't get this for myself because I heard there were some quality issues that I wasn't necessarily interested in getting it. But we're going to go over the differences between this and the original Newage figure. Let's start off by taking a look at what mold changes they made. So in order to do that, I'll bring in the original. So we'll keep, for the rest of the view, we'll keep the original on the right and the KO on the left. So starting off with just paint color, they did do a pretty good job reproducing that chameleon paint. There are some spots where it's light. For example, this shoulder pad right here on the front, it looks like they just missed. They didn't get enough paint there. But overall, it's a pretty good paint job, consistent throughout. The blue on the cockpit is a little bit darker and less clear. This one's like a crystal clear blue. The red is about the same, although maybe the backpack's a little less rich of a red. On the back, you'll see this metallic blue is a little bit lighter. It's hard to tell, but it's very, very minor. Coming to the sides, you'll see they changed the look of this. So it doesn't have the vents anymore. It just has the gray down the middle. They've also retooled the arm. You can see there's some slots here, which we'll look at when we get to the accessories. That allows you to attach one of the accessories. So that is different. Other mold changes, if you come to the feet, you can see this one has a die-cast rear heel. And actually, it doesn't fold flat. You can see it kind of gets stuck right there. It's as far as it goes. It's angled up. And actually, that allows him to not stand flat on those feet. So initially, it looks like he's bigger, but it's because of those heels. So if we come to this guy and we fold out, you can see this one has a plastic part inside, where the other one is missing that plastic part. If you fold down that plastic part, then you can't fold these flat either. And now they'll be basically the same height. So that seems like an error on the KO's part. They just molded it as one piece. So you really can't get this flat. It's kind of unfortunate. Other changes, there are some things in the backpack that they tried to fix the mold. Ultimately, it was actually, in my opinion, is actually worse. But basically, the pegs that hold the backpack on are much tighter. So you can see this comes loose first now, not the backpack. On the original, you pull on the backpack, it comes unpegged right here. And so what they did is made these pegs tighter. But unfortunately, that actually makes it harder to transform. So when you're coming back to robot mode, it's really hard to get these pegs in. I'm not going to take them out because it's a pain in the ass, but let's open up this backpack so you can see they did add a peg right here that supposedly keeps the backpack together better. In my opinion, it doesn't. It doesn't do it. So you can see they've got these same pegs, but then this one up here is new. And actually it gets in the way because the receptacle, the circle here where it plugs in, actually causes a little bit of a collision in the vehicle mode. So to me, that's actually a detriment. I don't think it's better to mention it. The other thing, which is very subtle, but it is different, is the face and the head. So you can see the head is actually a different shape. His crest up here is thinner. The face is actually smaller. They did paint it in the chameleon paint, which I prefer this paint. You know, it's just that flat with the metallic eyes. And then the eyes are smaller on the KO. My personal opinion is the original looks better. I just like the bigger face with the bigger eyes. But that did change that as well. So quite a few changes that I wasn't expecting. One thing I mentioned in the unboxing is these shoulder pads. They were installed incorrectly. They're installed backwards like this. Obviously wrong because it's got the hole on the front. They come off a little too easily. So as you're playing with them, manipulating, those tend to come off. These are really on there. You can pull on them. They don't really come off. They are attached the same way, but it's just toleranced better. So I do prefer, again, the original for that. That's, I think, a detriment to the design. But that's really it as far as mold changes. There are a bunch of accessory changes. But as far as mold changes, that is really it. Let's set this aside. We'll go over the articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel, goes up to there, down to there, rotates all the way around. Shoulder pads will move in and out, but like I mentioned, they're a little bit looser than the original. Arms go up to there, rotate around on the bicep. Single joint elbow gets you a little past 90 degrees. The rotation at the wrist. Single pin for the hands. The hands are a new design. I forgot to mention they're on a peg now, so you can remove it. I do recommend removing the hands for transformation, even though they fit. And the reason is they can come loose like this, and once they come off just a little bit, they'll get stuck in this arm. So I recommend removing them for transformation. But you do get these new jazz hands, posed hands. So if you want these, kind of fit like with other New Age figures, we were getting hands like this. So if you want that, that's a nice addition. They do rotate on that peg. But I do recommend removing the hands for transformation because they can get stuck in there. Continuing down here, the rotation at the waist, that's a little bit tighter than the original. Ab crunch has a little locking point. Same articulation, but it has a little locking point right there that you have to push past. So that works well. Legs rotate forward up to there. And by the way, this joint is loose. I did try tightening the screw, but it didn't seem to help. Back up to there. Nice tight joint there on the leg. Out to the side. That's all on friction. Hip skirt moves up and down. Rotation at the waist, or at the hip. Double joint knee gets you the full bend. Ankle tilt and pivot. Let's take a look at the accessories. We do get the same gun that we got before. Only difference is it's missing the silver accents that this one has here and here. Other than that, it is similar. Now the barrel is designed differently. You can see there's 2 holes in the barrel. And the intent is to have the ability to plug these in. I have not been able to plug it in. I really tried. I don't want to break it since it's not mine, but they just don't go. And you actually get 2. You get a pink and an orange, and neither of them fit. It's a very tight fit, and this doesn't go anywhere else on the figure. I tried the boosters. It doesn't fit anywhere else. So I am sure it's for this, and it just doesn't fit. That's very unfortunate. They made such nice blast effects, and you can't use them at all. Very unfortunate. But this will fit in the hand just like the original. Maybe a little bit tighter than the original, but that works fine. Just sad that you can't use the blast effects. You get this new accessory here, which is the sword, which we saw in the Netflix series. It has 2 little tabs. That's what these 2 slots are for. I mentioned earlier. Those are new. You can plug this into there, and now he has that nice sword effect. And then you can put the gun maybe on this side. And now he has 2 weapons. That's a cool addition, is that sword there. We also get a flight stand. So it looks like this. It actually kind of looks like ice. And it comes with 2 little pieces. I'm not really sure what they're for. The only thing I could figure out is maybe you put those in here to fill these holes or something. And then you take the figure, take out these weapons, and then you lay him down on top, maybe? I don't know. So it looks like he's in ice. I'm not really sure. I don't know what those are for. There's no instructions with this figure. There's no video or anything, so I'm not sure. But if we take the stand, you can plug that in. There's 2 ports right here. Same 2 ports I was putting those pieces in. They'll plug in like that. You get that in. And then there's an adapter piece right here. I already attached it. You can see there's a little square. Focus. Adapter piece right there. And you get an adapter for the robot mode and then an adapter for the vehicle mode. So let's take a look at that. We have this piece right here, done in that same paint. If you come to his back here, there is a slot right here on his butt, which was not there before. You can see there was no slot here. And we're going to plug this into that slot. Go ahead, peg that in, and then now you can plug in the bottom to that little square peg. Not sure I'd trust this on a shelf, but you can kind of display him on here. It's a little bit on the loose side, so there we go. So you could have something like that, which is pretty cool. You can now put them on the flight stand. We do get a couple more accessories. We get these two panels, which are painted. I'm guessing they're meant to go here, but if you rotate this, it's got a flat side on all three. There's nowhere to plug in those little panels, so I'm not sure what they're for. They give it to you, but they don't really go anywhere. And the panels that are there don't come off. And I'm not sure if he put those symbols on there or not, but I really don't know what the intention is for these two panels. We also get a optional face part here. Unfortunately, they didn't paint the visor. It's just done in that pearlescent paint. So in order to replace this, you do have to kind of take the head apart, because otherwise you're not going to be able to access that face. So go ahead and get a screwdriver and remove the screw on the back of the head. All right, so here's that face and head removed, and you can see there's a little peg. So you want to push forward on that peg, and then you can pop the face off. Without taking it apart, there's really no other way to do it. But then you can pop this on, and it's very unfortunate. It would have been great, but they didn't paint the visor. So now it just looks like a blank face. Just such a shame that they couldn't have painted that. Otherwise, I think it would have looked really cool. But just to show you what it looks like on here, there you go. There's Jetfire blank face. All right, now before we get him transformed, I just want to mention you can pop the head off on this peg. So if you wanted to replace it with a different head, you could. But that actually would help you take apart the face as well. So let's get him transformed into his vehicle mode. Since it's the same transformation as the original, we're not going to show it on camera. I will mention this smoothness of the transformation. Some of the parts and the fit and finish is not quite as good as the original. So it's a little bit more challenging to get him into the vehicle mode, but it does work. There's no changes to the transformation. It's just not as smooth, I would say. So let's get him transformed off camera and we'll be right back. All right, and there he is in the jet mode. And after transforming, I can tell you the quality is not better than the official. But let's bring it in really quick. A couple of quick differences here. Number one, there is a slight change in the way the things fit together. It's not a different transformation or anything, but it does feel like things are not as solid. Like this part right here just doesn't stay tabbed on both ends. It does look good. They also changed some of the paint. So here on the back, you can see the engines had that weathered look on the original, and on the new one, it's just that silver. They didn't fix the landing gear thing. So on the original, we had this landing gear would just kind of collapse if you went the wrong direction. If you went forward, it was fine. If you went backwards, it would collapse. This does the same thing. So the one thing that I was wanting them to fix, they didn't fix. Has the exact same issues. They changed the design of the wings. You can see the hinge is no longer visible. They've hidden the hinge on top so you don't see the pin. Not a big deal. I mean, it is a little bit cleaner, but overall, the fit and finish of this KO is not the best. It's not better than the original. All right, let's go over the accessories. And there are some new accessories here that work in the alt mode. So that's kind of neat. So let's go over that. First off, we do still get the gun. It doesn't tab in, unfortunately. I think it's due to the paint. It doesn't fit in there. Now, if you take the original gun, it does fit there. So I'm not really sure, maybe they changed the dimensions or they just got it wrong. I'm guessing if you push hard enough, it'll probably go in, but it's not my copy, so I'm not going to do it. But you do get this new piece here. It's painted with that same pearlescent paint. And this will tab in right here and cover up that hole on the bottom. Not a big deal, but it is nice to have a clean nose cone without a hole in it if you don't need it. So that's one. Another accessory is if you look on the bottom here, there are two new holes on these side pieces, whereas the original didn't have that. And those are to allow for adapters. So there's two pieces that can go into here. There's this piece, which is intended for the flight stand. And then there's this piece. So this piece has a little handle on it. And if you plug that in, let's see, this way. And you do get two of them, so you can plug in two handles. And that is so that you can have a figure flying along. So here's the Newage Optimus, and you can attach him there. And in theory, he can hold on and fly along. The problem is the fitment. It's not the tightest fit, so it tends to fall out, but you could do something like this, have him flying with Optimus attached. But one of the issues with this is that's the same spot that you use for the flight stand. So if you were going to display it like this, obviously you'd need it on a flight stand so you can, have him below. So kind of silly to me that they use the same slot. That basically makes this pointless because you can't display him on the flight stand with Optimus because these are in the way. So here's that flight stand adapter. So that's going to plug into those same two spots. And then that slot right there will plug into this flight stand. It does have kind of like a translucent ice look to it. And then up here is that adapter, the square peg. That's going to plug into here. I just find it silly that they made it so that you can't put the handle and the stand on, because that's kind of the whole point, right? Is have him displayed with Optimus. But there you go. There's the stand. I think that looks really nice. This is a nice addition. If there's anything to get this figure, any reason to buy this figure, it's this. And then you can kind of angle this down if you want. We also get this piece, and this will plug in right here. And the purpose of that is for the weapon effects. So we get these bendy wires. Feels like aluminum maybe. And then you get these little missiles are painted in blue and I guess white. And then these translucent pink blast effects. So those goes onto there, and then these attach here. The problem is the ends are not cut clean. So you can see it's kind of like not squared off. And because of that, it doesn't fit into here. So either you can't get this non-clean cut into the end of this, or you can get into the end of this. So you have to clean them up. So I did clean one up. You can see this one's a little bit more clean and straight, and that'll fit into here. But literally all of them are like this. So you'd have to cut them all clean with a snipper. And it does look great. I just find it really annoying that they couldn't give you clean cut bendy wire. So final recommendations on the Miko Toys KO Newage Firefox. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5, a partial recommendation. I think what this does well is enhance the vehicle mode, right? The jet mode really looks cool on this display stand and with these missiles. By the way, I did go back and cut all the ends. You're welcome, Jordan, so they would fit and work. But they're very loosely put in there. They fall out pretty easily. I guess they're staying on there now, but they're a little annoying to pose because as you're putting one in, you knock out another one. But it does look very nice. It's a really cool display option. I don't remember Skyfire ever having missiles like this, but it's a very cool display. So if you're getting it for that, I do recommend it because it does enhance the display factor in the vehicle mode. But in robot mode, I don't think it's any better than the original. And in fact, there's some issues like the shoulders were misassembled when I got it. The shoulder joint itself was loose. So little things like that. And then the feet being, molded incorrectly doesn't allow them to stand flat on the feet. So all those things are kind of take away from the robot mode. But if you're getting it for the jet mode, I think you'll be happy setting it up with this kind of display for your shelf. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Jordan for sending this for review. We'll see you next time.